Awesome. Woo. It looks great. Can I get a job? It's good. Anyway, my name's Chris James. I'm going to be your host today. I forgot to say I'm the CEO of Steel Media, but it's not about me for once. It's now we've seen the video. Now we're going to hear from the people themselves. We've got Michael from Gameloft, who's studio manager from Gameloft Toronto. He's going to come and talk a little bit about what they've learned about cross-platform. Is that right? He's looking at me like it might not be that. And I'm not going to even be speaking to him. I'm going to hand over to the lovely Lucie Lalumière, who is who's in charge of games in Toronto, as far as I understand. So she's going to come to. We've got gaming royalty on both fronts here. So I'm going to bow and get off the stage. Could you please welcome to the stage? There you go.
Hello, hi. So thank you, Chris. So I am Lucie Lalumière. I'm the president of Interactive Ontario. So we are the trade association working hand in hand with studios across Ontario in video, XR, interactive digital media to grow our awesome sector. And together we're building more and more great careers for talent here in Ontario. So today I'm very excited to have Mike and to moderate this fireside chat because Gameloft Toronto is a very engaged member of the community here. You have a major impact. And so without further ado, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and Gameloft Toronto.
Cool. Thank you. And hi, everyone. So like they said, I'm Mike Stolls from Gameloft Toronto. So I have been at Gameloft Toronto for 12 years. Grew up through the tech field of Gameloft Toronto. So I started as a programmer, lead programmer, tech director, and then a couple years ago moved into the studio management position. Gameloft Toronto has been around for 12 years. I think we just had our 12-year anniversary. So I've almost been there from the start, so it's been pretty exciting. But we've grown to 140 people we're at right now. Mainly been supporting our one of our main projects is Disney Magic Kingdom. So this is a mobile and Windows platform game that has been live now for 7 years. So we have a team that's actively adding content and actively working to kind of bring more and more experience to players. So that's a bit about Gameloft Toronto.
Yeah, and in fact, your games, as you said, are played around the world by millions of people. And we hear constantly about the great culture at Gameloft Toronto and your leadership as well. So what does it take for someone to grow into a studio leader?
So for me, I think one of the qualities or one of the, I guess, aspects I look at for myself, I came through the tech realm, but I look at problem solving and communication, because for me that is, a lot of what we do is problem solving. And from a tech perspective, we are, as a programmer, you're solving the problem of building the game and fixing bugs and implementing features. And then as a lead, you're now solving the problems of people and staffing and resources. And then as a manager and now as a studio manager, your problems become bigger. It's about culture, it's about recruitment, it's about what makes you competitive in the market. And then there's other people that are now looking at the more specific problems of actually building the games. But definitely, like, it's a lot of problem solving, making sure that you have people in the right place to execute and to achieve what you want to do.
So what does somebody have to own in terms of skill? You said problem solving, but is there anything else that you would recommend somebody do to grow into that kind of leadership position?
There's a lot. We look internally, our leads, it's very rare that we hire leadership, I think, from outside. It does happen, but I think what we try to look for is internal growth. And we try to look at people that, for one, have identified that they want to be in a leadership position, because I think the worst thing you can do is put someone in a leadership position because maybe they're the best artist or best dev, right? That doesn't always mean the best leader. So making sure that we identify who's a good leader, who wants to be a leader, and then some of those traits of that drive, that kind of urge to to push forward, to make things better, to like not just stay stagnant and to always be bettering ourselves year by year. I think that's a good trait for leaders in our group.
Okay,
So.
thank you. So now I'm going to jump into the core of our talk. So with Gameloft's newest games, such as Disney Speedstorm and Disney Dreamlight Valley, they're being released on PC and console. Is Gameloft moving away from mobile?
Yeah, so first, big shout out to our other studios. So Gameloft Montreal, who were our main studio for Dreamlight Valley, and Gameloft Barcelona, who worked on Disney Speedstorm. So these are two of our recent titles that are definitely were approached more cross-platform. We wanted to hit a wider audience with console and PC. Is Gameloft moving away from mobile? Definitely no. I think mobile is an area that we have excelled in. We've learned a lot. We can leverage a lot of that experience and a lot of our success to continue in that realm. But what we want to do is expand into the PC and console realm as well too. So reaching more players and bringing our content and our fun to more and more players. So. And interestingly enough, my first game at Gameloft that I worked at as a programmer was more console. It was for a DS. It was for DS, and at the time we were doing DS. We were doing PlayStation at the time, but then a shift went more to mobile, but now here we are back, trying to regain our presence back in the full complete market.
So, what are the challenges of building a multi-platform games?
For me, I think. At a design level, and I think at a conception level, there's obviously technical challenges of what you can do on mobile versus what you can do on PC and console platforms. From a design perspective, very early on, we have to establish who we're targeting, what type of user, how they're going to play the game, how they're going to experience what we're trying to put together. So mobile players may play short sessions more often in a day, where PC and console, they may play longer sessions, but less, less in a day. So that's one area where a good example is our Disney Magic Kingdom game. People are playing 9-10 times a day, but for 9 to 10 minutes a day, for instance, where a different PC console game, you're playing maybe 1 or 2 times a day on average, but it's for an hour at a time. So you're sitting there and you're really committed at that time. So I think that's one of the challenges at a design conception level, is trying to establish how you're going to make a game that targets everyone. The casual player, the type of player that will sit down and just play for hours on end. That's one of the early challenges. So we look at that very early. Even right now at Gameloft Toronto, we're in conception phase for projects, and we're having that discussion. Okay, how is it going to play for mobile? How is it going to play for PC console? Because they're two different markets, and we want to make sure that we're providing a positive experience for all the players out there.
So how do you overcome that game design challenge? Is it research, testing? What is it that you do to overcome it?
There's a lot of research. I think there is.
Sorry, guys, but I cannot see the time, so I have to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So somebody will have to flag me 5 minutes.
But yeah, no, it's a lot of research. I think there's a lot of different games that are, there's examples of games out there that have made a PC console game and then they have a mobile experience that is different. There's a lot of games out there that are truly cross-platform, and some are successful and some are not. So you have to evaluate, I think, what's out there in the market. But it takes a lot of early discussion. We do different focus groups but a lot of diving into our content. And we have we leverage a lot of our past experience of what we have on mobile. Mm-hmm. And now the more data and kind of experience we have on PC console to understand a bit more what the user is looking at. So, yeah.
So you've talked about the impact on game design. What about on the business model, the monetization? What's the impact?
Yeah, so that is a discussion that we have again early on, because obviously mobile has shifted many years ago to be more free to play, and console PC has been more premium experiences where you pay and you get a lot of content up front. But there is more and more of a room on PC and console world for free to play, but it really comes down to what makes sense and what fits that type of game. So we may make something that's a bit more casual, and we'll design it in a way that we want that to be a positive experience for users, that if they're engaged and if they're getting a lot of fun in it, they're going to invest long term, and maybe we'll target a bit more kind of games as a service, free to play monetization strategies. But then there's other games where we'll go a more premium direction. So it's again, it kind of goes back to the early conception design, like figuring out who we're targeting, what our long-term goals are, how long we want the game to keep going.
So I'm assuming that for some games it's going to be a similar experience, whatever the platform, but other games it may be a different experience beside the duration of the sessions.
Yeah, there's definitely a challenge, I think, to make a truly cross-platform game, something that can be played whether you're on the subway or on the train, and then something that, kids are asleep, and I now have 2 hours to game, and I can sit there and play. So that is a challenge, to make sure that it's properly paced, and it's rewarding for the user. But then there are some other games where it just doesn't make sense, and the mobile experience is more of a complementary experience for the user, or a lighter version or a pocket version, which it's still, I think, a fun and experience for both users, and there are going to be players that will experience fun on both versions, so it's kind of a double experience for them. So.
And Gameloft, you're excellent at game as a service, so you're excellent at community management, player support. Again, designing an experience for multiple platforms, how does it impact community management, or does it impact?
So I think one of the experiences we leverage, having focused so much on mobile and, like you say, games as a service, this is something that, I mean, for me, back when early on in my time at Gameloft, when we made a game, it was a premium experience. We shipped it, we're done, we're moved on to the next one. Now, that first release is very much just a first milestone of the project. Beyond that, like Disney Magic Kingdom is a great example, where it's been 7 years that we have engaged with the community. We've provided new content. We've listened to their concerns. We've listened to their complaints. We've tried to address their complaints. But we really have, I think, a good foundation for engaging with the community, which I think is important. I'm excited to bring that to PC and console, to build a game that is not just, here it is, enjoy it for the next 10 hours of content that we put in there, and then it's done. And I think we're starting to see that more and more, where you see games that have seasons and DLC and other packs. But I think what we can really leverage is our experience of engaging with the community. And we have really detailed communities. Like, it's amazing the types of wikis that users have built for Disney Magic Kingdom, and you see them on Reddit and you see them on other forums talking about how to do this event and how to get through things fast. So it's really, I think that's one area that we always will focus on.
So can somebody, 5 minutes?
7.
Okay, that's because I cannot see. Okay, all right. Okay, so the other thing is, you and I had a discussion prior to this fireside chat, and you did mention that for the team, it's also a great opportunity to be able to work on titles that will have an iteration in multiple platforms. So why, beside expanding your market, why does Gameloft want to do multi-platform?
Yes. So I think we touched on the user aspect of trying to reach more users and give them more options and more ability to play our games and to get that entertainment from us. On the management side of me and the management side of the rest of the leaders in Gameloft Toronto, it also introduces us to a different pool of for recruitment for industry professionals. There are some that may lean more towards they want to be in console and they want to be PC. And we've seen it. I myself have hired people that have joined us, worked a couple years on mobile, and then they're like, I have a dream to work on a big AAA project. I had that same dream as well too. Yeah. But now I think one of the benefits for Gameloft moving into this is that we can offer that, and we can now be appeal to those that talent pool that wants to work on console and PC. So I think it's overall positive.
And for your current team, how do you prepare them to handle developing and supporting a multi-platform game? Is there anything that you have to do?
On the design side, we play a lot of games
Right.
to do
Right.
our research. I think that's always trying to keep up to date with the market is big, and seeing what others are doing, and then trying to continue to see how you're going to push the envelope. On the technical side, it's understanding the boundaries, the limits of what you can do, and how you can push those even further. My experience so far has been a lot of excitement, I think, from the team. So like this is something that they've asked for, and they've always wanted to get into this. So for me, it's been a very positive experience where I'm like, okay, this is where we know we're heading. We start researching, what can we do? How do we play this type of game? How do we prepare ourselves? So it's going to be a nice, smooth transition. And obviously, we're not going to headfirst dive into this and make a big, AAA, multi-million-dollar, $100 million project. I think, but it's important for us to be true to ourselves and understand that this is a long-term goal, and that we progress in an aggressive but, achievable manner, I think.
And this consideration that you have for your team, you also have for the community. So, and you're sponsoring the Game Dev Stories here. So why are you doing this?
So for me, a little at a personal level, I grew up in Toronto. I went to school in Toronto, and at the time when I entered into this industry, it was very, I would say, not the most established in Toronto. We had a lot of indie studios, but there was nothing. It wasn't considered a big video game hub. Myself, that led me to going to Montreal, and that was where the bigger hub was. And then I then moved back when we started to see more of this development in Toronto. And we started to see a true video game hub be developed in Toronto, and we started to see this boom in Ontario. And so for me, like, for the last 12 years, we've always partnered with schools, because I think that's an important part for us to reach out to the younger generation, the new generation, that to show them what you can make in a career, and like what a career looks like in this industry, and to help guide them into it. But also now, like, to be able to sponsor an event like this, it is local, has a lot of local companies. It brings a lot of, I think, exposure and hopefully growth to the industry in the city and in this province. So I always look forward to sponsoring and to seeing and to participating and helping continue that growth.
So what's the future for Gameloft Toronto?
Right now we'll continue our Disney Magic Kingdom game. So that is still our main priority. There's no end in sight for us. The benefits
7 years and going.
Yes, and I think one of the benefits of working with such a licensor and such a brand is that there's a lot of opportunity there to keep something going as long term. But even right now, we're still in the conception phase for a couple different projects. One of them being definitely more cross-platform that we're looking at right now. But we are also trying to diversify our library at Gameloft Toronto. So we have a mobile game with Disney Magic Kingdom, looking at different console games, and then looking at how we can partner with other, with Apple Arcade and Netflix, getting more and more into the gaming realm. Those are, Apple always was part of it, I guess you could say, but with their Apple Arcade subscription. But trying to partner with them as well too. So for me, it's a nice approach at a studio level to diversify our library and our projects that we're working on. So that's kind of exciting, because we're exciting times to kickstart some new projects and to get some new game ideas going.
And it's exciting for us as well to see where you're going. So do we have time for? Okay, all right. So questions? Yes. Oh, Mike?
Might be me. Go on, give us the mic. Am I doing that, or someone else doing it? Who had the hand up over here? Is this on? That's on. There we go.
Could you please explain your experience in playtesting the games on different platforms? So I believe that you have your own internal playtesting, but for smaller studios, how can they make a playable demo accessible for PC compared to mobile? And how is the whole playtesting process and this whole phase goes for different platforms?
Yeah, so I mean, UI UX is obviously one of the bigger topics to I think look at with a game that's cross-platform, right? There's a big difference to playing on a controller to playing on a touch screen or a small screen. There can be fatigue when you're looking at a phone for an hour as opposed to looking at a bigger screen. And definitely, like, we have the ability to have internal user research and different focus groups that can answer a lot more on the usability of specific topics of the game. For smaller companies, I mean, I'm sure there's ways to do like open betas and where you can do open betas, whether it's on a mobile platform or you can do early access to start engaging with the community. I think again early on, and you have to make sure that you're not treating the community as testers and that you're giving them somewhat of an experience or that it's the experience they're expecting. But you can engage with them early on, and you can take their feedback. And if you show them that you're working on their feedback and that you're appreciating that, I think it will go a long way. And you build that relationship with them early on.
Got time for one more question, I think. God, this room's filled up.
Russell?
Right at the back. Get my steps in today. I could do with losing a bit of weight, to be fair. That's fine. There you go, Russell.
Hello, Lucy. Hello, Stolls. Paula says hi. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for the panel. Super interesting. Mao, my question is, with the spatial headset that's coming, is Gameloft doing any kind of examinations in that kind of space? It's kind of technically mobile, but also a different venue for sure.
Yes.
I would say that, I mean, anything is possible. It's important for us to look at any and all types of platform and technology that's coming up. So, I mean, right now it's not on the top of our list, I would say, in terms of priority, because there's just so much that we're looking at. But we don't write anything off, I think, early on. And what we try to do is we try to look at, okay, we have a product, and where does this product make sense to live, right? And we've had the discussion, with Disney Magic Kingdom or any other game. It's like, what would it look like on this type of platform? And I think what we do is we make sure that we're properly evaluating that there's a use case and there's a user base that will actually benefit from it. But sorry, it's not the best answer, but yeah, definitely everything's on the table.
They're definitely doing it. You're definitely doing it. Can we? I'm sure there's loads more questions, but you can grab Michael. Can we have a big round of applause, please, to Michael and Lucy? That's fantastic.